Welcome to the Fear and Greed Summer Series, brought to you by Vanta, specialists in compliance-led growth. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
And good morning, Adam Lang.
Good morning, Michael.
Now, 5 minutes. That's what we've got on the clock this morning. And in that time, we're each going to put forward a big story about politics, Australian politics, the biggest political story of the year. At the end, we're going to decide who wins. Let's jump straight into it. Adam, you have drawn the short straw and you get to go first.
Alrighty, so for me, it's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and how he's lost a bit of political mojo. Incumbent governments worldwide have been at risk this year as global inflation, higher interest rates, geopolitical tensions and war are all impacting how people feel about their governments. Our hip pockets are hurting and the finger of blame quickly turns to governments when elections come onto our calendar. By May 2025, Australia has to have a federal election. We have persistent inflationary pressure starting to come down, but interest rates remain at a 12-year high of 4.35%. Energy costs surge higher with some help from government grants, and we are behind schedule on the green energy transition. So as we close the year, the Australian Financial Review and Freshwater Strategy poll shows that most voters believe Australia will have a minority government after the next election. There is an expectation that Peter Dutton may be in charge. Anthony Albanese, meanwhile, closed the parliamentary year with a slew of legislation getting passed. Still, the Australian population feels a hip pocket hit from the cost of living, and Albanese has lost his political mojo that he is the Prime Minister to lead us.
Don't forget when he bought a $3 million house in the middle of a housing crisis. That wasn't a good look.
Coastal retreat.
Yeah, it's been quite an amazing fall for Anthony Albanese, who really had such a great run to begin with. Remember all those foreign trips? And this year, he has really lost his mojo, not just externally, but internally. Even ALP members are disappointed in Anthony Albanese. I mean, interesting 6 months. Good story, but I think I'm getting a bit more nitty-gritty for my biggest political story of the year.
Great.
Into the dirt.
The nuclear power debate. I don't know, into the dirt? I don't know whether you'd say that. Yeah,
Into
maybe.
the uranium.
Yeah, I think so.
Feels high risk. Feels like we're
Definitely.
at risk of Blinky, the three-eyed fish from The Simpsons here. Go on.
Nuclear and the whole push towards renewable energy. What the nuclear power debate puts on the table, one of the biggest no-goes in politics for decades. That's nuclear energy. Opposition leader Peter Dutton deserves recognition for that. It needs to be part of the debate. Even if you don't like it, we should be debating it because nuclear can create huge amounts of energy. In coming decades, we're going to need huge amounts of energy. The push to renewables is inevitable now, even if Donald Trump wants to drill more oil, but he's the only person left standing thinking that the push to renewables isn't inevitable. Park the costing for a moment. Under the coalition's model, which involves 7 nuclear power plants as part of the mix, renewable energy will still be the dominant source of power by 2050, but about a third of power will be nuclear. Under the government's policy, 90%, 94% of generation by 2050 will be renewable energy. Labor's plan predicts 90% of coal-fired power will have exited the system by 2034. Coal plays no long-term role in the coalition's plan either, though it will take just a bit longer. Australians now know what they're voting for in terms of the energy transition when we go to the polls. I think the energy transition is perhaps the greatest challenge facing Australia over the next decade, particularly because we're going to need more energy. And now we have something to choose between. I think that has been the political story of the year. Michael.
Oh, that is a good one. But look, we are a business podcast. We have a lot of business leaders listening to us here. So this one is for you. I would have to say that the biggest political story of the year is the industrial relations reform that has been introduced by the government. I don't know why I paused for...
Tumbleweeds.
Yeah, I paused for effect. I don't know what I was expecting. Applause or just
maybe.
cheers or something. I don't know. Anyway, these are laws that have been passed over the last kind of 18 months or so, but many have... And so don't disqualify them though, Sean, because many have come into effect this year, right?
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, they're okay, good. One of the most prominent, one of the ones that's really generated a lot of talk has been the right to disconnect, with employees able to ignore calls or emails or messages from the boss after work hours. where reasonable, without fear of punishment. Also, major changes to the casual workforce, where casuals are doing regular hours and they're technically not casuals anymore. Employee-like conditions for the gig economy. Huge changes for labour hire workers getting a big pay rise under the same job, same pay wages, which kind of disproportionately affects companies with a large contracted workforce like our big miners. IR reforms, they may not be in the headlines all the time, but businesses and employees are working through these things every single day. This has been a really, really big political story of the last 12 months. I don't know why I'm getting all gestury on this. I'm really kind of, it's like a weird
it's
political
your productivity
wiggle.
enthusiasm, Michael.
I think it is. I don't know whether I've done enough to win that, though. I suspect it is probably Albo losing his mojo as the winner.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about Albo? It's like, we talk about the IR reforms, the NDIS reforms. There's been all sorts of different funding, like the Northern Australia Fund and these sorts of things. They've actually done quite a bit, but somehow he just has lost his mojo. I look, all I can say is that I think the nuclear debate is the bronze medal winner, and I accept that spot on the podium. I can't decide between IR and Albo.
Are you willing to share the medal or break it in half?
No, I actually think I'll concede. Because given particularly my productivity enthusiasm, I do think industrial relations is the story.
Me too. 100%.
I'm just disappointed that Adam conceded so quickly. I mean, I want you to fight for it, Adam.
Yeah. Especially when I had already given you the win.
On the one hand,
I'd already declared Albo the winner.
Yeah, I think we all conceded in the last 30 seconds. Well done.
Come on.
Happens.
Michael wins. Adam next. Then
an unprecedented Christmas gift.
The sexy bronze medalist.
Know what? Tomorrow's episode, you have to bring the passion. We've got to spark up a bit tomorrow, and you have to try and win.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Thanks, Michael.
A fight to the death tomorrow.
And thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Michael.
Make sure you hit follow on the podcast. This is the Fear and Greed Summer Series brought to you by Vanta. Vanta automates compliance for frameworks like ISO 27001, SOC 2, CPS 234, and Essential 8, saving time and money while building trust. Join over 8,000 companies like Atlassian, Dovetail, FireAnt, and Tactic.io, managing real-time risk. Get $1,000 off at vanta.com/fearandgreed. I'm Michael Thompson, and this is the Fear and Greed Summer Series.